She was obsessed with her, so she made her into a doll. But then the truth unravels, and suddenly, the story becomes so much more heartbreaking. This film is called Jordan River. It's only 2 minutes long, but it tells a compelling story about grief, heartache, and the tragic ways people cope. A woman sits hunched over a desk, sewing together a doll replica of the woman she's obsessed with. She's made other dolls before, but they never turn out quite right. But this one is perfect. She holds it over her shoulder as she heads outside, when a mob attacks her and forces her to watch as they cut its neck with scissors. That's when we find out the truth. The doll was a replica of her lover who passed away in an explosion, and the doll was as close as she was going to get to the real thing. And now she has nothing but guilt for not being able to save her. My interpretation is that the brown and blonde-haired girls were best friends, maybe even lovers. And on one fateful day, they found themselves in the middle of a disaster, most likely an explosion or bombing. The brown-haired girl tried to save the blonde, which is mimicked through the way she carries the doll over her shoulder. She possibly put the blonde over her shoulder when carrying her out of the disaster, but she still ended up dying. Now she's trying to cope with the loss, but the incident has destroyed her both mentally and physically. Not only does she have scars all over her body, but her once bright world is now dim and dark. She has tried tirelessly to make the perfect doll, but they never turn out right, possibly because as time has passed, she is starting to forget the tiny details about her lover that make a person unique. The photos she has in her room all have missing eyes because the explosion happened right before she was able to capture a picture of her lover with her eyes open. The debris and smoke got in the way, so she never had a chance to look her in the eyes before she died. The doll does, however, have eyes, and I think that's because the last time the brown-haired girl saw her lover's eyes, they were dark, empty, and lifeless, and trying to create a replica of what she used to know. It's almost like she sees this doll as being alive, which is why she treats it with such tender, loving care. The crowd jumping her can represent her survivor's guilt. She can't stop thinking about the disaster and constantly recalls the memory, which forces her to feel guilt all over again because she wasn't able to save her lover. When the crowd snips the doll's neck and forces her to watch, it's like she's reliving the memory of when she had to watch the blonde die right before her eyes in the explosion. Or maybe the crowd can represent her reality catching up to her. The doll is not real and will never be able to truly replace what once was. When they cut the doll's neck, its eyes are void and black, possibly to mimic the exact look in her lover's eyes when she died. In the end, she sits crouched over, clutching her doll, while the crowd lays around her, seemingly dead. This mimics the last memory she had the day her lover died. She remembers bodies surrounding her while she clutched her dead lover close. Jordan River is also a representation of death and transition, and I believe this entire story can either be about the brown-haired girl accepting her lover's death or her making the decision to finally join her in the afterlife.